31:3. It says, "The Lord has appeared of old to me, saying, Yes, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness I have drawn you. And again I will build you, and you shall be rebuilt." And encouragement, you should be rebuilt.
Right.
We're trying to rebuild our bodies a little bit, aren't we? So let's ask the Lord to start the meeting. Heavenly Father, thank you for the blessings. Thank you for teaching us that you care about us and that you're trying to rebuild us, both in mind, body, and spirit. Give us strength to learn these lessons and share with others how we can help and change our lives for the better. We pray in your name. So that's excitement thing. So this is a book called The Edge Effect. It's written by Dr. Braverman. Here's when he was younger. But have you heard of the magazine Life Extension?
No.
It's a magazine. I should have brought a copy. It's called Life Extension. And it has they have all sorts of very interesting articles, but they also promote supplements. But they also promote foods that you should eat. Next time we'll bring them.
Yeah, bring a copy.
Yeah, I will. And with that, but he's the editor of that magazine. So, but he has a theory and device that he's developed, and it's called the BEAM, Brain Electrical Activity Mapping. But part of it is he has 4 types of neurochemicals he measures with that. One is dopamine, one is acetylcholine, one is GABA, and one is serotonin. And they're sort of in the ascending areas of your brain where they appear. So dopamine's mostly up here, then acetylcholine's here, this second half, and then serotonin is back here, and GABA's on the sides, in the temporal lobes. And the brain, the way it functions, if it's not affected by drugs, poor health, stroke or something like that, your dopamine system works first, then the parietal. The last system work is generally the serotonin system, because that needs to go on for you to go to sleep at night. But there's many other things serotonin does. Serotonin is the fun center in the sense of activity. You like activity, you like to have fun, and that's, if you were, and for a job you'd like to be a salesman, or a construction worker, or somebody that likes a lot of different things that are busy, or a truck driver. You could drive a pilot on a plane, you fly the latest equipment. So if you like to do things like that, that's generally those kind of people. The serotonin's a bit more active. The dopamine system is more for those who are constantly wanting some intellectual stimulation, something that constantly goes there. They're your doctors, your lawyers, your people who are involved in architects, things that are having to do those kind of detailed things. Many other things though are involved in that. You could be a composer, you could be things like that.
So, if I'm hearing you right, like if your frontal lobe's more active, you'd be more attracted to dopamine?
Yeah, you'll be more attracted. Generals in the army, is a strategic thinker. That's the qualities of dopamine. You kind of look ahead to things and how they're going to be. You plan. You're a planner.
If you're more active in these other parts, you'd be naturally drawn
to that kind of career. So, for a person, let's say, like I said, there's the acetylcholine, which is the more creative side. So, a person who likes to write grants for a community, or who likes to be an administrator in an organization and sees the vision for something, but they also see the excitability and the newness. They're creative, so they like newness. So let's try that new idea. So if you're a person that likes new ideas, you will tend to you'll be more of a acetylcholine kind of person. So he measures this in the test, and the GABA person, 50% of the world's GABA. 50%, he says in his book, is GABA. GABA wants things to be stable, peaceful, not much change. Life should just continue and be cool. That's GABA. And 50% of the world is GABA. That's why the world tends to have the stability effect. And that's okay to be GABA. That's great. So that's what this talks about. So
now, does he So we're naturally, I mean, can you change that?
It's pretty much hardwired.
Oh, okay.
You are hardwired for, the Lord is, you know, it's like the old Greek idea. Remember, you were either phlegmatic, right, black bile, you know, and or you're sanguine. Sanguine's like the serotonin person, or you're choleric, which is more like the dopamine person. And so it had the different humors, the 4 different humors. And the Greeks taught that. So it's kind of funny that even nowadays we're discovering that there was some sense to what the Greeks were teaching, that there was actually biological sense to it,
Right.
based on biochemicals in the brain.
So what you're saying is that everybody then is going to be, have one of them going to be dominant in their life?
Exactly. And they're also going to have one that is the lowest.
Oh, okay.
So based on your lowest one and your highest one, that sort of determines your personality quality. And people who have successful marriages, generally, that doesn't mean they can't be opposites, but they're being able to tolerate that differentness of their high and their low, and they've learned to negotiate that. But typically, a dopamine acetylcholine person will be attracted, and typically a serotonin GABA person will be attracted.
Okay, now does that go back, have anything to play with your horoscopes?
No, nothing to do with horoscopes. Nothing to do with horoscopes.
Okay.
I call them horoscopes
Horror.
because they're really not anything but a bunch of horror. But that's what I found very helpful, is to look at that and to say, okay, and there's a test to take. Maybe I'll get you all the tests so you can take it. I'll bring it here sometime.
That'd be
And you can take the test,
Right.
and then you can see which kind of person type am I. Am I more serotonin, more dopamine? And what's my lowest score? So you get to ask that question. And when you score it up, it'll teach you how to add them up, and then you'll have a score for each of the 4 sections. So it'll be kind of fun. So you didn't know you were going to get psychology. We're going to do that. And then if you do a beam test, which is another step, but that's where you do an EEG machine. They put wires in your head and they measure the brain waves that come out, and then we can actually get further information about your brain, which will help us determine if there is what you put on paper matches what's in your brain.
Now, is there any one category that you deal with more so than any others?
Well, we deal with depression, and so people with depression tend to have low dopamine levels.
Okay.
That's almost categorically what we see is low dopamine. And probably if they have anxiety, the acetylcholine's too high. So too much acetylcholine, so that ends up down. And they usually are low in GABA if they are suffering from bipolar depression or major depressions. And if they have anxiety, if the GABA is too high, they have anxiety problems.
But you said earlier that people are generally hardwired.
They're hardwired, but when you have the let's say
Okay.
you answer these questions a certain way,
Right.
and it tells you who you match with more. But then we do this brain test, and it shows that you're low in your hardwired thing. So now you're going to have difficulties achieving your natural tendencies.
Okay.
So as a result of that, then we have to say, okay, there are some treatments available to help your dopamine, your acetylcholine, your GABA, and your serotonin. And you've probably heard about it, which we're going to talk about a little bit, not too much on the video, he won't mention it, but depression we talked about. But SSRIs, or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, what that does is there's a chemical that's released, we give a pill, and people think, oh, you're giving the chemical to the brain. No, actually we're giving a pill that blocks a chemical that would take your other chemical and make it more available. So in other words, I'm giving you a medicine that helps block something that would suck up this chemical in your brain and allows it to stay in the cleft of the nerve between two nerve endings, so it stays out there longer and allows the signal to last longer. So it helps enhance the signal. That's how it works. Now, when you give a drug like that, it can have some side effects because it enhances other
Yeah.
nerve signals in other parts of the brain that don't deal just with emotions, mood. It deals with maybe your muscles. So then you'll have some shaking or shivering. So then we have to adjust the dose so it doesn't affect that part of the brain. Eventually, maybe, medicine will see that these drugs can be targeted to certain locations and therefore avoid side effects. But right now, we're in the infancy stage. Talk about a bubble of not knowing everything. There's a bubble of where we don't know everything. So anyway, so that's what we were looking at. So I'm excited about that, and these are old pictures. I just show you a picture. It lights up the brain when we do the test, the EEG test, but I know I'd love to bring it here. My wife says you don't bring it here. It's an expensive piece of equipment. It's tough to leave and juggle. But if I could, I would. But they have a more advanced picture now. It's very 3D. It's kind of cool. This is very primitive, how it was, 15 years ago. But that's kind of the pictures. And where it lights up, it'll then record, and then we can say this part of your brain is affected. So this is the probably serotonin area in the back of the brain, and this is a complete picture there. It tells you. So this is like a healthy acetylcholine brain, and this is not healthy. See, it's not lighting up. And the same with the healthy dopamine and not healthy.
What I read is also if you have a non-healthy part and you're aware of it, I mean, you talked about drugs, but also what I understand, supplements and foods can work and do the same thing.
Right, and this is, and for instance, if you want to boost your dopamine, you would take phenylalanine, because phenylalanine is a precursor, it's an amino acid to dopamine. And you take depending on how severe your problem is, from 500 to 2,000 milligrams a day to increase your dopamine. Tyrosine is another amino acid, and you would increase it with that too. So those are the two things that can help increase the dopamine. There's some other things like pyridoxine and B-complex, phosphatidylserine. So those are all things that can help dopamine.
Now can you...
Get that in diet?
No.
Yeah.
Can you, we all think of, dopamine fun and, everything. So can you wear out or numb by overdoing it?
Well, I suppose one could overdo anything, but could it numb it out? No. I think it enhances your ability. Dopamine people have high energy, they need less sleep, they go. They thrive on activity. That's a dopamine person. So if you're not that way, and you've never been that way, then you probably aren't that way. But it's probably not your nature. And if you like things to be calm, peaceful, and you like things not to change, and you like things to have order, and you're just generally, that you're probably more leaning towards the GABA.
Towards the what?
GABA person.
What is exercise and diet and
Good point.
everything we talked about? How can it help the eyes?
How can it help the eyes, or just this whole idea? I mean, exercise is going to help your circulation. Many of the things that go on with people's eyes are problematic because they have had years of eating foods. And, when we eat food, we create waste products. We're like an engine. Okay, when a car burns fuel, what does it do? It burns the fuel, and then there'll be a little coat of carbon maybe on the inside of the cylinder or on the valve. And eventually that valve wears out, and you have to replace it. Well, hopefully our valves don't wear out because we don't want to have to replace them. But what we realize that the body, when it burns energy, it's called catabolism. And it catabolizes things, it breaks it down. And that breakdown creates a residue or soot. Like when you burn fire in a fireplace, you burn energy, you burn the wood, which is energy, you create energy, it creates heat in the house, and then the smoke goes up the chimney, right? What else goes up the chimney? Creosote, different things that are up from the wood that you burn, and it coats the chimney, and then you have to get a chimney sweep or someone to clean out the chimney, right? So, very much the same way with the body. Each day we eat something, each day we exercise, each day I move, I'm creating free radicals. I'm creating breakdown products in my body. It's just the natural course of things. It leads eventually to we can't move anymore and we die, right? Okay, so, but you can do things to prevent that from creating this chemical buildup for your body. And so there are free radical scavengers. Methionine, B6 can help, glycine, cysteine, and glutamic acid combine to make glutathione. And the glutathione is a chemical that in the liver can cleanse that area of your body. So those are things that can help clean that up. The only time we build up our body, believe it or not, is when you sleep. Sleeping is the only time that the body anabolically builds up. Now there are things called anabolic steroids. Anabolic steroids people take. You see the bodybuilders. Just last weekend they had a big contest at Wind River, and they had all the bodybuilders. They had a guy that was 82 years old. And someone showed me a picture of the guy. He used to work out. He used to help Arnold Schwarzenegger work out. This guy's body's incredible. He looks like a statue, a Greek statue. He's 82.
But that's just the muscle aspect of it.
But I suspect
Yeah.
he's building himself anabolically, and it's just not sleep. He's got other means to do it. And they eat this special diet. They'll eat certain foods, and they eat every 2 hours, getting ready for this competition. Now I'm sure that on the days that he doesn't get ready for the competition, his body, and he's not doing all this, his body looks a little more normal. But when they get their body cut, they do that. So that's the anabolic stage. The body builds up and can get itself just so. Is that normal, and is that something we could practically do every day? No, I don't think most people could do that. And the reality is, we are mortal, and there is a time limit for all of us. But we can extend that if we ideally eat and exercise and spiritually use our lives properly and have a relationship with God. Those things can make us live healthier and longer lives, because they've done studies on that, found that people who have a spiritual life that pray, they actually have less illness, and people who have relationships that are spiritual and normal, and their marriages are working well, those people can have extra life too than the average. So there's many factors that contribute to longevity, and we can look at that in further studies too. So I don't want to. My wife's giving me a signal here. Get busy. So let's look at this video, and I don't know if the sound bar, if I have the control for that. Is it? If it's I think it's on now. I hope. Because I don't want to start this and then you don't hear anything. So this is antioxidants and depression. So I work with my patients on depression, trying to help them reduce their depression. So there's different things we work on. One is diet and nutrition. So this is an interesting one. Did I lose my connection? I did. So we're going to have to take a break here.
According to the latest from the CDC, the rates of all of our top 10 killers have fallen or stabilized except for one.
And that's suicide. So let me go back
Is
up
the
here.
TV on? The red-
Does that red light mean it's on?
No, I think it's off.
Okay, must have. I guess it has a timer if it times out on you. I had it on and it was all up there and then we talked.
Yeah, it does have a timer.
Okay, there we go. Am I lined up okay?
We like it.
Okay? And does that bar go away if I have it? There we go. So we'll listen to him for a little bit.
Suicide. Accumulating evidence indicates that oxidative free radicals may play important roles in the development of various neuropsychiatric disorders, including major depression. For example, in a study of nearly 300,000 Canadians, greater fruit and vegetable consumption was associated with lower odds of depression, psychological distress, self-reported mood and anxiety disorders, and poor perceived mental health. They conclude that since a healthy diet comprised of a high intake of fruits and vegetables is rich in antioxidants, it may consequently dampen the detrimental effects of oxidative stress on mental health. But that was just based on asking how many fruits and veggies people ate. If you measure the levels of carotenoid phytonutrients in nearly 2,000 people across the country, a higher total blood carotenoid level was associated with a lower likelihood of elevated depressive symptoms. And there appeared to be a dose-response relationship, meaning the higher the levels, the better people felt.
So, carotenoids, you can get those in cruciferous vegetables, carrots, things like that. So that's it. And we talked about, when I talked about your body's catabolism, another term would be oxidative stress. So when you hear the oxidative stress, and I talked about catabolic stuff going on, the effects of your burning energy and the remnants of the burning of energy, that is what oxidative stress is.
Lycopene, the red pigment predominantly found in tomatoes, but also present in watermelon, pink grapefruit, guava, papaya, is the most powerful antioxidant among the carotenoid family. In a test tube, it's about 100 times more effective at quenching these free radicals than vitamin E, for example. And in a study of about 1,000 older men and women, those who ate the most tomato products had about half the odds of depression. The researchers conclude that a tomato-rich diet may have a beneficial effect on the prevention of depressive symptoms. Higher intake of fruits and vegetables has been found to lead to a lower risk of developing depression. But if it's the antioxidants, can't we just take an antioxidant pill? No, only food sources of antioxidants were protectively associated with depression, not antioxidants from dietary supplements. Although plant foods and food-derived phytochemicals have been associated with health benefits, antioxidants from dietary supplements appear to be less beneficial and may in fact be detrimental to health. This may indicate that the form and delivery of the antioxidants are important. Alternatively, the observed association may be due not to antioxidants at all, but rather to other dietary factors such as folate that also occur in fruit, vegetables, and plant-rich diets. In a study of thousands of middle-aged office workers, eating lots of processed food was found to be a risk factor for at least mild to moderate depression 5 years later, whereas a whole food pattern was found to be protective. Yes, it could be because of the high content of antioxidants in fruits and vegetables, but could also be the folate in greens and beans, as some studies have suggested an increased risk of depression in folks who may not be getting.
And I want you to see, and found in cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, leafy spinach, green vegetables, asparagus, avocados, and dried legumes, lentils, chickpeas. So if you like hummus, there you go, but you can get it. And low levels of folate might increase the risk of depression because of the reduced bioavailability of S-adenosylmethionine. Remember I told you methionine is an antioxidant? It's a universal methyl donor which can result in impaired formation of myelin, neurotransmitters, and membrane phospholipids. So you need to have the methyl donors in your body. That's why some people like SAMe, because there's methyl in SAMe, and it's good for joints and stuff like that. Well, but S-adenosylmethionine, you can get that, and that is something that will help with the neuro capacity of the brain, including the myelin that's covering your coating of your brain. Just think of these free radicals. Every time you exercise, every time you breathe, every time you're awake, every time you do any movement, anytime you eat, free radicals are being created, and they're internally bombarding your body. It's eventually what causes our skin to sag. I told my wife, well, I don't know if I could get my skin right looking out right now. And it's just, it causes the skin to sag, and because it's constantly bombarding the elastin tissues there. But if you eat foods that create almost an effort of the body to, while you're sleeping, to lay down new methyl groups, then you'll be able to create these fibers and these things that need to be recreated to strengthen your body. And so we can lower the rate at which we're aging. We can improve and even in some cases reverse some situations, internal organs and blood vessels and such. So that's why food is so important in getting healthy food. So that's
I
why
wish you had been around when I worked in mental health.
Enough. Low folate levels in the blood are associated with depression. But since most of the early studies were cross-sectional, meaning a snapshot in time, we didn't know if the low folate led to depression or the depression led to low folate. Maybe when you have the blues, you don't want to eat the greens. But since then, a number of cohort studies were published following people over time, and low dietary intake of folate may indeed be a risk factor for severe depression, as much as a 3-fold higher risk. Note this is dietary folate intake, not folic acid supplements. So they're actually eating healthy foods. If you give people folic acid pills, they don't seem to work. This may be because folate is found in dark green leafy vegetables.
And also because some people don't metabolize folic acid. There are some of you out there, I can tell you right now, that if you do a genetic oral test, you'd find out that your C677 or your A1298 allele gene, which is the name for the little gene, is going to be homozygous in a deficiency. And what that means is you're not able to process folic acid. You could eat all the green leafy vegetables you want, but it would be hard for you to absorb it. You have to eat more and more of that because you have a hard time metabolizing it. So they do have a pill now that is methyl tetrahydrofolate. It's called MTHFR. And when you do that, then that MTHFR is absorbed to the brain and prevents depression. We've seen actual people get better. They even make a drug out of a vitamin. It's called Deplin, but it's 15 milligrams, and you give it once a day, and it's actually helping with the treatment of depression in our practice. So, but there's different brand name. You can get cheaper brands, but it's 15 milligrams a day. And you find that out by doing a genetic test and find out if you're homozygous, meaning you have the same lack, you're missing 2 alleles, which means you have a deficiency. So that's important, and that's why some of these people don't respond to folic acid, because folic acid won't work on it.
Is there I realize you said there's a test, but what would be your physical symptoms?
Well, just like a depressed person.
Depressed.
You'd be tired, depressed, generally.
Okay.
Like spinach, whereas folic acid is the oxidized synthetic compound used in food fortification and dietary supplements because it's more shelf stable, but may have different effects on the body, as I explored previously. These kinds of findings point to the importance of antioxidant food sources rather than dietary supplements. But there was an interesting study giving people high-dose vitamin C, also known as ascorbic acid. The vitamin C, but not placebo group, experienced a decrease in depression scores and also greater FSI. What is FSI? FSI evidently stands for penile vaginal intercourse, an acronym that makes no sense to me. But evidently, high-dose vitamin C improves mood and intercourse frequency, but only in sexual partners that don't live with one another. In the placebo group, those not living together had sex about once a week, and those living together a little higher, once every 5 days. But no big change on vitamin C. But those not living together on vitamin C every other day. The differential effect on non-cohabitants suggests that the mechanism is not a peripheral one, meaning outside of the brain, but a central one, some psychological change which motivates the person to venture forth to have intercourse. The mild antidepressant effect they found was unrelated to cohabitation or frequency, so it does not appear that the depression scores improved just because of the improved FSI.
Well, that was an interesting little side. Does that mean vitamin C is going to make you an unfaithful partner? I hope not. I think vitamin C is still good for you. And so if someone drinks a lot of orange juice, are they at risk? I don't think so. I think that study must have had something unusual about it. But I always like to say, hey, you know, those are studies I have to double check on. But if you're single and young, you know,
Survival of the species.
it's more likely vitamin C is going to give you more energy instead of the cheap box foods that you've been eating, bad foods you've been eating. And now you're getting vitamin C, so maybe you have more energy to do those kind of things. So, the point being though, you saw that folic acid is important. And you saw that the dark green leafy vegetables is important. So let me go, that's the antioxidants. Antioxidants are important because as I told you the story, the free radicals, if you remember anything here, just remember your body's producing free radicals all the time. It's just the natural process of aging, catabolism. It's the natural process if you're 20 years old, if you're 80 years old. Just that's what's going to happen.
And would you produce more on a not so good diet?
Yes,
Okay.
a diet that does not have these neuroprotective factors. You don't
Well,
have,
aside from the protection, do you just produce less on a better diet and then you scavenger up more on a good diet?
the two things you bring up. You're going to produce less free radicals and you're going to scavenge them up better. So that's the two advantages. So you want to slow down the aging process, don't you? We all do. You know, and you want to have quality of life. So when you go shopping, buy your fruits and vegetables. What they found in these studies, if you had 7 servings a day of fruits and vegetables, you had less depression. Had to have 7 to 8 servings a day. So, in the morning, this is a practical thing. My wife knows it, she does it for me. I'm not as depressed, but sometimes. But I have blueberries, I have my applesauce, which is cooked, but I have it. I have my bananas, and then she'll throw in either some strawberries or some red raspberries. And then I eat this cereal that has a little shredded coconut in it, so I'm getting all that in that and other things. And then in the evening I get some vegetables. But I don't think I'm depressed, but I might be depressing to people, I don't know, but I'm not depressed. But I feel good, and I feel good, and I exercise, so I have that basic thing every